Hello people and hello my friend who are watching this video. This is my 8th video and this now I will share my thought about what do you think? What about urban design again. Yes, this is the what is part of this. Maybe this is the fourth part. Yes, part 4. Like that. Okay, this in this video I'm just gonna tell you about what I've just read in this book. Yes, I just finished my page. This I just finished 150 page, and maybe it's almost just a half of this book, and I think I'm gonna complete this. Maybe this is my first dual language that I will finish it, because it is not only the on just not only the English language, but it have the Indonesian, the bahasa language. Okay, now last video we just talk about the intensity of the building, and now I'm just gonna talk about another factor or another compound that makes some urban design that we just say before is macro micro land use, and then the intensity building, and there is something like what is the mass of the building, the mass. Oh, before it is some link edge. The link edge system is like there are some highway like that in some city or some area. It will be some link edge. The example of link edge is like some highway or just pedestrian walk or just some bicycle way like that. The link edge purpose is for make some effectively and efficiently for people that go to go from place to another place with some efficient time like that. And the mobility, it can, and for efficient mobility too, and modes of transportation it's so, and it can help some most of help most of modes transportation. But in another place or different country, maybe there is another link edge, and the link edge is make our, it's a essential compound or essential factor that make our urban design, or make our city like that, because our city is not only just make from micro and macro land use, but it is also make from the link edge too. If you see in maybe in Jakarta, the like underpass, underway, or another highway, it is make the city or the make the face of the city, the streetscape like that. If you see, there are some roundabout HI, bundaran HI. If in the bahasa, it is bundaran HI, it is bundaran Hotel Indonesia, because the roundabout is near from Hotel Indonesia, and then it's called like bundaran HI like that. And the bundaran HI is make some streetscape from for the central of, maybe not central, in the area of bundaran HI like that. And it make like in roundabout, in edge of the way, there is some building like that. And the first thing, or maybe the essential factor that make our city is the link edge itself. And there are so much link edge, like primary link edge, like a highway or just a big way, and then some secondary way secondary way secondary link edge, like maybe some for in just a mini way like that. And then tertiary way, maybe in some gang, some alley like that, corridor in your home like that. Okay, and it is some leakage. And another factor that make urban design and urban development, it is some greenery. Yes, the what is it said, urban spaces greenery. Yes, the greenery area and public space like that. In cities, in city development, we have to give or get some greenery, yes, some public space and greenery space for our city, because it can make, like, we have to harmony with nature. We cannot always just give some egoism in our self, that we have to get some building, but we have to give some chance, not give some chance, yes, we have to harmony with nature, because before us there is nature that flourish in our land, in our world like that, and we have to conservation it, just like that. We have to give our land some greenery, just build some of it, because greenery is so much advantage from it, like it can help, or maybe this not disrupt, diminish some pollution, and make the greenery, it also can make some public space too for the people. It can make some connecting people in the public space, and maybe in other area or other city, the greenery, it can help some hold some natural disaster, like what is called, the landslide or erosion of the dirt and land like that. And after that, another and after that, the last aspect is some signage, and there's some edge, and the city from city space, like a streetscape. Maybe if you see in Jakarta, or if you go to Malioboro, you can see some signage in the way. You can see in side by side there is some building that have some signage, that it can just the written, the letter is jual batik or sell some batik like that, and the signage is, it can make some identity for the city itself. But and if you see in Tokyo or some Akibahara, in that way there is some building like Malioboro, and there is some signage. But if you know, or if you want to know, there is some regulation and rules about the signage to be to be to be installed. Yes, we have to see some arrangement, some array, when we install the signage, because if we don't to make to we don't obey the rules and regulation, it will make the city is not aesthetic, and the other, maybe it can give disadvantage in another board, like if maybe there is some, he just give signage in, like maybe not too high, but you just put like so much high, like signage, it can cover up the our neckboard signage like that. And then if you see, we have to, when we are want to build some building in a heritage place, we have to obey the more rules about the rules of heritage itself. Another, it's and maybe I will talk this in another chance. Yeah. Okay, wait. I just on my fan. It's so hot. Okay, sorry. So cool. Okay, it is the four of aspect that contain it consists for the urban development and urban design. The first is oh wait the last thing is the fifth thing is the last is the mess. Yes, the mess is like maybe it is not different or same as not so much same but not different at all, like intensity of building, because the mess is like you have to make some building that have correlation like another building like that, and you cannot make some building that's too high, like the rules about the KDB and the height of building. We have to obey the rules again. Yes, rules is everything. Okay, and then it is the five aspect that consists about and like consists about the urban development. The first is some what is that? I forgot. The first is micro and macro land use, and the second is the intensity of building. The third is linked system. The fourth is maybe some mess from building, and the five is signage and maybe some city form streetscape like that. And it is just make some urban development and urban design like that. And what is urban design in Indonesia? What practice urban design in Indonesia like that? Yeah. First of all, I just want to tell you about the history about urban design first. Urban design is established in the first generation is in 1960. 1960, maybe some approximately maybe in 1960, because it is the first urban design, because the before the year some decades ago, in maybe in 1945 until 1967, it's just our country have to not too much to notice or pay attention about the urban design and urban development, because in the last we just have to, or the stakeholder and the government just want to get some political freedom, like that. And the first generation is in 1967, maybe it is when it is in era of Insinyur Soekarno, just like that. It is the first thing that why it helped is in Senayan, maybe is the area of Senayan, because in the past of that year there is some Asian game that held in Indonesia, and there is some because Insinyur Soekarno is some architecture engineer, and he just have some thought that some idea to make a good urban development in Indonesia, because there will held some Asian game in Indonesia like that. It is the first, and the next there may be Soeharto and like that, and Joko Widodo. President Joko Widodo, and now there is some like the urban development is in MRT phase 2, and maybe now there is some what development like that. Yeah, the in the central Jakarta it will out some big development, urban design, urban development like that. And it is, and if we see in Indonesia there is some, there's some geographical, and the geographical we we know that Indonesia is in tropical land. It's tropical land. It has weather two weather. One is high rainfalls, and second is drought like that. Yes. And then the we have to, and how to like, because there's two of weather, we have to handle it like in maybe in architecture, like house architecture or another building. It have to have some, what is the hood, like some cover like that. We can see in maybe why there is, we have to have so much greenery space like that, because it can cover the area, and cover the area for those weather like high rainfall and the drought like that. And Indonesia have some much topography and typical of land, like there are high mountain, highland, lower land, valley, and high mountain, like another like that. And there is, and because of that there is, yeah, Indonesia is rich about the topology, the nature about it, and there will be so much, what is that, the rules about it. Yeah, maybe some holder will makes up so much rule, because there are so much different typical land in Indonesia. And like what I said before, it is about the rules. And before the rules, I will think about the social and the people. Yes, Indonesia have different people, and maybe if you see in a big city, there are so much like segregation, about social segregation. When if you see there is some area that some area that have some elite settlement like that, some rich people in there, but in the side that is somewhat near side of the area, there is some slum area, some, yes, poor people like that, and there is some the so different like that. And what urban development wants is, it is not okay, but there are must to be done to separate like that. We have to connect about it, because there are two as so special and interconnected like that. They are interdependent, yes, like that. And the people in Indonesia, it is so much like some informal economic, like there is some street vendor and some motorcycle taxis like that. There are so much that we have to consider about it when we develop some country or develop some this urban design like that, develop city. We have to see about it, and then we go to, and in urban development it is just like we have to cooperation with so much parties, like architecture, urban design, architecture, landscape, civil, and people around there, some stakeholding, government, and anything about it. Because it is the scope is so much. The scope is just in city, in some land, that we have to always cooperation like that. And about the regulation, we have to obey it, because it is so much regulation because if we don't obey the regulation, it will give some disadvantage about our environment and to us and to people around us like that. And about that, we have to, and if in the city, if we see there are no so much land in there, it is different, like maybe irony, like it is so much people that the develop people is the growth of people in the big city or another city, maybe it's so much growth, like to up growth like that. But the irony is the land of the city is not so much big like that. It's not so, because the land is hard to get expand, except you just get some reclamation, but there are no space about it to grow when the people just grow. And like that, urban design is just some process like that. Maybe in the last 50 years, urban design is different in the maybe in 25 years, and maybe in now is so different like that. And how to we make some land, some space for the to resolve the growth of, not resolve, when there are overcome of some growth of people. Yes, there are some three, there is urban renewal. Yeah, urban renewal is we have to give some new space in the land or the city that maybe it just not like unutilized like that. There is some place, some building that unutilized, we can use it for maybe some settlement or just some commercial that make our like development for our city like that. And the first, there are three level about it. The first is conservation and preservation, and the second is I forgot. Conservation, and the second is just rehabilitation, and the third is just redevelopment. The scale is just in small, medium, and big. In small, we just maybe just give some different structure or just concept like that, and the second is we can, the scale is just we just some make some more space or just maybe to give or like yes, just give some concept like that. But in the third scale factor, like the big scale factor, the scope is redevelopment, like it just or some rebuild, it is so big scale like that. Maybe I'm just here in reservation and preservation. What is the difference of reservation and reservation sorry preservation and conversation conversation so wait, conservation, yeah, I forget, sorry guys. The preservation is just we have to give some conserve in our building on our area or land that we don't, that we have to secure and make it safe from external threat like that. we don't we don't want that there is some bad external to give some bad quality for our land or for our building. And conservation conservation, it just we have to hold or save the value about in the land, like absolute value in that building or in the historical value like that. It is, and maybe just it I want to share about my thoughts about the urban design in part 4. It is in just 25 minutes. Thank you for all, and thank you for watching. See you in the next part. Yeah, maybe I just want to share anything except or not only just urban design again. But I want to finish this book first, okay? Thank you. See you again.